Hiro was a whiny loser who couldn't land a girl to pilot with him. Basically exactly like you reading this, bro. But one day, he cooked up a ridiculously hot girl who turned him into her favorite little pet and let him ride her. Together, the two of them became the strongest of them all. And now she wants to marry him and would do literally anything he asked. In a distant future, humanity is barely scraping by after nearly getting wiped out by giant beasts called klaxosaurs. The only real defense left is a bunch of giant robots called Franks, which only work when piloted by a boy and a girl together. The story follows Hiro, a teenage boy living in a place called Plantation 13, and he's got one massive problem: zero partner. His old co-pilot, Naomi, quit the program partly because Hiro was such a pathetic failure. He couldn't even lift the plot-relevant sword and couldn't get the robot to power on at all. He feels completely defeated and starts losing all hope of ever piloting again. One day, wandering around with zero hope left, Hiro spots a girl swimming in a lake. Suddenly, she vanishes underwater, and worried she's drowning, he rushes in to save her. Except instead of needing help, she rockets out of the water with a fish clamped in her teeth, licks Hiro's face, and drags him into the lake with her like it's the most normal thing in the world. She says she wants him to be her darling, holds out her hand and tells him she can help him get his lost skills back. Right as Hiro's about to take her hand, a squad of guys shows up demanding to know why she took off. She just shrugs and says she needed a minute. As they haul her away, Hiro asks her name. She says she doesn't have one, but goes by the codename 02, and then she's gone. Later, there's a big ceremony welcoming the new Franks pilots called Parasites, and the leader, known as Papa, gives a speech. Hiro isn't allowed to watch because he's been branded a failure. His squad leader, Hachi, feels bad for him, but can't do anything about it. Feeling completely useless, Hiro decides to leave the plantation. He stops to say goodbye to Naomi before she gets shipped out. But suddenly a massive klaxosaur bursts up from underground and flips her transport vehicle upside down. As the beast breaks loose, the military opens fire with cannons, but it does nothing. The creature slams into the fortress and wrecks the entire defense unit, and Hiro gets knocked off a high platform. When he sees the monster heading straight for his friends, he sprints after it, only to realize a second klaxosaur has jumped into the fight. One of the beasts tries to blow up a young pilot, but a Franks shows up just in time and starts attacking the klaxosaur. The beast turns its tail into a giant weapon and knocks the Franks back, firing off an energy blast. The Franks manages to deflect the shot, causing a massive explosion that sends the mech flying toward Hiro. A man falls out of the Franks, clearly dead, and when Hiro looks inside, he finds 02 sitting in the cockpit. She calmly explains that her old partner didn't make it. When he asks how she plans to fight alone, she just says she'll figure it out. Her partners never last more than 5 seconds anyway, so she's used to going solo. Hiro says he wants to be her new partner and doesn't care if it kills him. She smiles, says they're alike, and says she likes him. Then she grabs him, calls him darling, kisses him, and pulls him into the cockpit. The Franks lights up with insane power, reacting to the connection between them. At that exact moment, the klaxosaur charges the base, but the robot fights back hard. Their combined energy transforms the machine into its Strelitzia form. She flings the first monster away and lands a dead-on throw with a lance at the second one. The robot rams into the klaxosaur, floods it with poison gas, and blows it up into a thick cloud of smoke. With the monsters down, 02 climbs out of the Franks carrying Hiro in her arms. Everyone freezes because everyone knows her reputation. She's the infamous partner killer. The next day, Hiro heads back to his squad's dorm. His teammate Jerome is waiting and asks if he actually piloted the Franks during the attack. Hiro says he doesn't remember it clearly, but he wants to try again to be sure. Jerome warns him that 02's co-pilots usually don't survive past the third time and begs him to stay away from her. But Hiro admits he can't stop thinking about her and wants to pilot with her again. Another teammate, Goro, walks in and drops the line, "02's in the cafeteria." In the mess hall, the rest of the squad watches 02 tearing through her food like a wild animal. A lonely virgin loser, let's call him Mitsuru, walks up and tries to hit on her with the worst Reddit tier pickup lines imaginable, saying he wants to pilot with her. She wipes her greasy hands on him like he's a napkin, and he storms off screaming. She sits down next to Hiro and asks for a bite of his meat. Hiro takes the opening and asks if he really piloted with her. She confirms it and calls him darling again, shocking the rest of the squad. A woman named Nana walks in and introduces herself as the new supervisor. She'll be handling everything from training to daily routine. As 02 heads out, Hiro asks if they can pilot together again. Nana says not right now, explaining that only headquarters can make that call. In the elevator, Nana warns 02 to keep her distance from the other kids, especially Hiro, worried she's going to lead him down a bad path. The next day, Ichigo and Goro run into 02. Ichigo decides to confront her and asks why she picked Hiro as her partner. 02 doesn't answer, so Ichigo warns her to stay away from Hiro, saying she doesn't want to see him get hurt. 02 sees right through the fake concern and just stares Ichigo down coldly before licking her face like some kind of creepy monster and walking off. Later that night, Jerome kicks a ball at Hiro and starts trash-talking him, calling him weak and a fake hero. Furious, Hiro tries to fight back, but Ichigo and Goro step in to break it up. A few days later, the sergeant tells Hiro he's been picked to try piloting a Franxx again. If he wins the combat trial, he becomes an official parasite. 02 immediately volunteers to be his partner, but Ichigo insists on being the co-pilot instead. Nana agrees to that setup, and 02 walks off, visibly disappointed. Jerome catches the whole scene and challenges Hiro to a one-on-one fight, saying he's going to crush him and prove he's a useless loser. That night, the fight kicks off in front of the whole squad. Ichigo tells Hiro their best shot is building a strong emotional connection. She'll handle the fighting if he just focuses on syncing with her. But Hiro's never had a real bond with any girl. He's always been a lonely, useless loser. They manage to get the Franxx started together and charge at Zerome's robot. It looks like they're winning, and Hiro gets cocky thinking they've already got this in the bag. But suddenly their Franxx shuts down for no reason. As Zoro moves in for the finishing blow, Hiro tries to restart the machine, but nothing works. Ichigo asks if she's the reason he can't get it up, and questions why it worked with 02. Hiro mentions that their kiss was what brought the robot to life, though he hadn't realized what that meant at the time. Hoping to test the theory, Ichigo kisses Hiro, covering his eyes while she does it, but nothing happens. The Franxx stays dead. Jerome attacks and slams them down hard. Ichigo, furious and humiliated, activates the Franxx solo, rams Zerome's robot, and throws them both into the base wall. Inside the cockpit, Ichigo breaks down crying, screams at Hiro, and calls him a useless piece of garbage. She genuinely believes he's powerless and will never be able to pilot with anyone. The next morning, Hiro and Ichigo cross paths outside the exam room. Hiro tries to apologize for how things went down, but before he can finish, someone calls Ichigo away. Later, Hiro talks to Goro and tells him he's planning to team up with 02 again. Goro is not even a little excited about that. He reminds Hiro that every one of her past partners died fighting next to her, but Hiro doesn't care. He says that if he can't pilot a Franxx, he's basically useless anyway. The next day, Hiro finds 02 alone. The moment he looks her way, she says she's been waiting and wants him to follow her. She walks down a corridor, but when Hiro tries to enter, the system locks him out. That's when 02 flashes her special S-Class badge, which gives her full access to every area. She grabs his hand and drags him through the security gate like it's nothing. Once outside, Hiro is stunned to see a peaceful city hidden beyond the walls. He asks how she knew this place existed, and she explains that every facility like theirs was built the same way, and she's already been to several. Hiro says he's never left the base before, since every kid there is born and raised inside the fortress. He says he wants to give her a new name, but she smiles and says she'd rather keep going by 02. Then she climbs up onto a pole, balances on it like a tightrope, and playfully asks if he's ever thought about running away with her. Hiro doesn't answer. He's way too scared. The next day, Nana gathers the squad and tells them they've got their first real mission, taking out some smaller klaxosaurs that showed up near the base. The sergeant adds that these creatures are being drawn in by magma energy and have been causing trouble lately at a mining site called Level 8. Since Hiro isn't officially cleared to pilot yet, Nana says he'll have to sit this one out while the others handle the threat. The squad arrives on site and spots a klaxosaur already tearing up the equipment. Ichigo leads the charge and manages to pierce it, knocking it down. Another Franxx helps pin it, and Jerome finishes the job by driving his weapon straight into it, then starts bragging like it was the easiest mission ever. Ichigo orders him to destroy the core immediately, but before he can, the klaxosaur leaps on top of him and starts crushing the robot. Miku passes out from the impact. Luckily, Futoshi jumps in and blasts the creature away from them, giving Ichigo enough time to hit the core and finish it off. Before they can catch their breath, another klaxosaur shows up, followed by several more. Realizing they're outnumbered, Ichigo screams for everyone to fall back before they get wiped out. Meanwhile, back at the facility, 02 tells Nana she wants to go help. Hiro offers to come along, but the sergeant brushes him off, calling him a weakling who'll just get in the way. 02 tries to talk Nana into letting them go, but she flatly refuses, saying Hiro can't pilot with her. Mitsuru suddenly speaks up and volunteers to be 02's partner. He says they're out of time and this is the only shot at saving the others. On top of that, he takes a jab at Hiro, saying he pilots way better with her. 02 tells Mitsuru to get real and roasts his face while she's at it. But Hiro, feeling humiliated, finally works up the nerve and asks to pilot with her. She agrees. Back at the battle, Miku comes to, and the squad works together to hold a gate shut, while the Klaxosaur pounds on it non-stop. Ichigo's doing her best to stay calm, but the second she hears 02 is coming to help, and might be bringing Hiro, she loses focus. That's all it takes. Her robot shuts down, and the Klaxosaur breaks through the gate. The squad has to run as the monsters chase them down. They sprint until they hit a dead end. That's when a massive Klaxosaur looms over them, ready to devour the whole squad. But suddenly, 02's Franks drops out of the sky and tears the beast apart end to end. It explodes right in front of them. More monsters show up, and Mitsuru starts showing off, declaring himself the greatest pilot of all time and calling Hiro useless. While he's mid-brag, 02 locks onto a huge Klaxosaur and charges full speed into battle. When the robot resurfaces, 02's totally fine, but Mitsuru looks like he's seen death itself, passed out and barely breathing. The next day, Mitsuru looks like he's seen something terrifying. Hiro walks up and asks what happened in the cockpit. Mitsuru says 02 is insane, claims she tried to suck his soul out and nearly killed him. He warns Hiro to stay far away from her if he doesn't want to end up like the rest of her victims. Later, Ichigo confronts Hiro again. She wants to know if he still plans on piloting with 02 after everything that happened. Hiro says yes, no intention of backing off. Ichigo says she's done trying to stop him and walks away in silence. The next day, when Hiro spots 02 again, Mitsuru's warning echoes in his head and he quickly ducks out of sight. He heads into a quiet pool to clear his mind, but 02 shows up there too. She gets in the water with him and teases him, asking if he wants to move the plot forward together. Hiro's way too nervous to answer. She tells him he's the only one worthy of being her partner and that the two of them have something special. But before they can talk more, alarms start blaring across the entire base. Outside the fortress walls, 4 Franks units are already engaging a Klaxosaur. One gets knocked down by a worm-shaped creature, but the others jump into the fight, pinning down and tearing apart the beast. Right when it looks like it's over, the Klaxosaur twists around and grabs Zerome. Then it releases some strange substance that traps the rest of the squad in place. Ichigo tries to escape, but trips and gets stuck in the sand with everyone else. Meanwhile, Hiro and 02 run up to Nana and beg to join the fight, but she refuses again. Suddenly, a group of armed soldiers surrounds them and tells 02 she's being transferred to another base under higher orders. When one of them touches her, she slaps him clear across the room, and the rest point their guns at her. Realizing she can't win this one, 02 tells Hiro she has to go to another facility. She's upset that she can't stay with him. She says goodbye and starts walking. As she walks away, Hiro turns to Nana and asks if it's true that 02 really caused the deaths of all her partners. Nana admits 02 is different. She's more of a weapon than a person. Every battle drains her co-pilots to death. She's not human. She came from somewhere unknown. Hearing this, Hiro realizes he judged her unfairly. He takes off running after her, screaming her name. He pounds on the wall, begging her to hear him out. He shouts that piloting with her brought him back to life and that he wants to be with her again, no matter what it costs. That gets her attention. She stops walking. Hearing those words makes her smile. She jumps a soldier, grabs his gun, and shoots out the glass barrier. Then she leaps through the shattered glass and runs back to Hiro. She tells him nobody's ever said anything that sweet to her before and asks him to say it again. Hiro says he wants to pilot with her until he unleashes everything inside her, pouring all his energy into the cockpit. She grins, agrees to help save the squad, and says they need to hurry. 02 shoves a soldier out of the way, and the two of them run for a robot. Nana screams for them to come back, but 02 cuts the comms and completely ignores her. The Franks powers up and rockets into the sky at full speed. They crash into the Klaxosaur and free the trapped team. Hiro yells that he'll handle the creature's tail, so the rest of the squad focuses on the head. As the Klaxosaur fires off more strange projectiles, 02 blocks everything, grabs the tail, and floods it with gas. But there's no core. The monster dives underground and their robot follows it down. When it resurfaces, it looks like a giant sandworm. Ichigo jumps onto its back and drives her weapon into the tail. The rest of the squad follows suit, driving their weapons into the beast and pinning it in place. Hiro and 02 seize the opening, leap to the other side, and dive straight into the creature's body. They find the core and destroy it from within, blowing the entire beast apart in a massive cloud of smoke. That night, the base's announcement system shares big news. 2 separate colonies are going to connect in a procedure called a kiss. Zerome, being his usual clueless self, asks if that means they're literally going to have to kiss. Ikuno rolls her eyes and explains that kiss just means the transfer of magma energy that powers the Franks units from one station to another. Nothing romantic about it. But when the group starts getting nervous that the Klaxosaurs might attack during the transfer, Hiro speaks up and says he'll protect everyone with his robot no matter what. A few days later, the kids officially graduate and get promoted to full parasites. Everyone seems pumped for the next chapter, except Hiro. Goro notices something's off with him the next morning. While they're in the bathroom, Goro asks if he's okay. Hiro smiles and says everything's fine, but Goro can tell it's a lie. Later, in the common room, the rest of the squad thanks Hiro for saving their lives in the last battle. Hiro isn't looking for praise. He just hopes they'll finally start seeing him as part of the team. When Zorome tries to downplay it by saying he just got lucky, Hiro doesn't argue. Instead, he offers a handshake to keep the peace, and Zorome takes it. After that, everyone heads to the cafeteria. Right on cue, 02 shows up out of nowhere and drags Hiro off to a separate table to eat. She's as messy as ever, spilling greasy food everywhere. But then she grabs a bite and feeds it to Hiro affectionately, like it's the most normal thing in the world. Later, in the boys' dorm, 02 hops onto one of the beds like it's hers and drops the bomb. She's moving in with them. The boys freeze completely at the news. Sensing how awkward they are, Hiro decides to walk her back out to give them some space. That night, Ichigo shows 02 the girls' quarters and warns her she'll have to follow house rules if she wants to stay there. 02 hates that idea. She accuses Ichigo of trying to control her and says she'd rather cuddle up with Hiro in his bed. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, Hiro is in serious pain. He can feel something is seriously wrong. When Goro finds him in the common room, he pulls Hiro's shirt back and sees a huge scar running across his chest. Alarmed, Goro reaches for the emergency button, but Hiro stops him. After taking a few sips of water, Hiro insists he's not giving up on piloting the Franxx, even if it kills him. Goro says he's lost his mind, but Hiro begs him not to tell anyone. He's afraid they'll ban him from the cockpit for good if anyone finds out. The next day, their squad and another group meet up for a mission briefing. A swarm of about 100 Klaxosaurs is closing in on both colonies during the upcoming energy transfer. The new squad will handle the main defense, while Ichigo's team provides backup. When Hiro and 02 walk into the room, Nana says the two of them will also be part of the mission, but the other squad isn't happy about it at all. One of the boys starts shouting that 02 is dangerous and selfish. He claims she got his previous partner killed in an earlier battle. 02 doesn't even flinch. She says she doesn't remember that at all. She's had too many partners to keep count. The cold response sends the guy into a rage and he tries to confront her, but Hiro steps between them and promises to keep her in check. That night, as the team walks back to the dorms, Goro tries to bring up the idea of cutting 02 from the squad. But before he can finish, Hiro cuts him off, sensing Goro's about to spill his secret. Hiro quickly says it's better to keep her close as an ally. Later that same night, Hiro is lying in bed, shaking. His condition is getting worse. Goro sits outside to clear his head, but soon spots Ichigo and 02 heading into the forest. Curious, he stays hidden. Ichigo warns 02 to behave herself during the next mission. 02 doesn't like the tone at all and tells her to mind her own business, saying she doesn't care what anyone thinks. Ichigo blocks her path and warns her not to push Hiro too hard. He's not like the others. 02 coldly replies that Hiro is her partner, her darling, and if he dies, that was his choice. Ichigo loses it and slaps her across the face, calling her a heartless monster. 02's eyes start glowing with rage, and it looks like she's about to strike back. But then it starts raining. She freezes, distracted by the raindrops, and walks off in silence. Ichigo comes back soaked, only to find Goro waiting outside. He throws a blanket over her and says he saw them arguing but didn't get involved. Ichigo, heartbroken, admits she feels completely useless. She can't build a real connection with Hiro, and it makes her wonder if something's wrong with her. Then she breaks down crying. The next morning, Hiro finds 02 by the river, the same spot where they first met. She carefully opens his shirt and sees the scar again. She asks if he wants to stop piloting with her, knowing the third time could kill him. But Hiro stands firm and says he'll stay by her side no matter what. He's going to keep piloting with her, even if it means pouring out every last drop of strength he has. 02 breaks into a huge grin and spins around laughing, clearly moved by his answer. Later, the squad gets ready for the mission. Goro encourages Ichigo to talk to Hiro before things get serious. She hesitates, and when she finally walks up to him, she gets all awkward. Hiro waves at 02 from across the hall, which leaves Ichigo completely thrown off. She tries again and tells him she sees him like a brother and hopes he comes back alive. Hiro agrees and says he feels the same, that she's like a sister to him, and runs off after 02. As Ichigo climbs into her Franxx, she tells Goro her main goal now is keeping 02 as far from the fight as possible. Outside the base walls, both squads get into position as a massive swarm of Klaxosaurs closes in fast. The first squad jumps into action immediately. One robot throws a lance that skewers a monster, while another leaps high into the air and drives it down until it explodes. 3 other Franxx pilots fire arrows at a different creature, and their leader finishes it off with a clean hit that takes it down. The squad captain says they'll take out the enemies one by one and quickly disables another monster by breaking its leg. letting the others pin it down while he finishes with a clean cut. Suddenly, they notice 3 more Klaxosaurs taking a different route. The captain turns to Ichigo's team and orders them to handle it, but warns them not to screw it up like last time. As one of the creatures closes in, Futoshi tries to shoot it, but it dodges and lunges straight at him, biting into the robot. Ichigo fires non-stop but can't land a clean hit. Zerome tries to drive his weapon in, but ends up colliding with Mitsuru's Franks. 2 of the monsters try to tear Futoshi's unit apart, and another one closes in, ready to devour them. But Ichigo takes the creature down and destroys it just in time. Then a new beast splits off from the group and charges toward the base. Ichigo orders Zerome to chase it down and eliminate it. Inside, Hiro is in serious pain. His body is failing. Meanwhile, more Klaxosaurs close in. 02 watches how disorganized Ichigo's team looks on the battlefield and laughs, calling them a bunch of clumsy fools. Hiro, worried about how excited she seems, asks why she loves fighting so much. She just smiles and says it makes her feel alive, that she's a monster, and the adrenaline of battle brings her joy. Not wanting to sit this one out, Hiro says they should join the fight. 02 agrees with a grin. The moment their Franks launches into the war zone, she stacks up several enemies and wipes them out instantly, then shreds another with a single strike. The Klaxosaurs fire at her, but she dodges and cuts them down just as fast. With enemy numbers dropping, the second team pins down another Klaxosaur and electrocutes it until it explodes. But suddenly, Hiro's condition takes a turn for the worse. The pain is so intense their Frank stops moving. Still, 02 manages to regain control and goes back to cutting down enemies while Ichigo finishes off the last one. Ichigo orders 02 to pull back from the fight, but Hiro insists on continuing. With all the smaller creatures wiped out, the second team pins down the last Klaxosaur and electrocutes it again. But this time, something strange happens. A loud sound echoes as the beast begins to transform. Right before their eyes, it shifts into a humanoid shape and stands up. The other team fires arrows, but the creature swats them away like flies and slams them to the ground. Right as it looks like their leader is about to get killed, Zerome jumps in and saves him. Realizing they're the last team standing, Ichigo says they need to hold the monster down so Hiro and 02 can hit its core. Theirs is the only weapon capable of finishing it off. Everyone piles onto the beast, trying to pin it down before it reaches the base. Meanwhile, Hiro is in serious agony. Thick veins bulge across his body as he fights to stay conscious. Even so, he keeps pushing forward. Their Frank slows down and drives a deep strike into the monster. Hiro pours everything he's got into the blow, releasing gas into the beast, which collapses. Believing they've won, Hiro passes out. But the fight isn't over. The Klaxosaur hurls their Franks across the battlefield and starts transforming again. With Hiro unconscious, the enemy launches a brutal attack, smashing the Franks against a wall and shutting it down completely. It keeps hammering the robot while 02 tries to fight back alone. Ichigo sees this and starts crying, thinking Hiro is dead. Goro shouts at her to hold it together. While Hiro's body lies still, his mind drifts off somewhere else, a strange, dreamlike place. Naomi appears and scolds him, saying he gave up on 02 exactly like he gave up on her. Hiro replies that he's useless now because he's dead and believes 02 will manage on her own. Then he sees 02 standing under a tree. He runs to her, but she backs away, heartbroken. That moment makes something snap inside Hiro. He wakes up and sees her fighting alone, getting slammed over and over by the monster. Even so, she keeps fighting like a wild animal, refusing to give up. Realizing this is how she always fights, pushing herself past her limits every time she loses a partner, Hiro makes a decision. He's not going to leave her alone. As life returns to his eyes, the strange veins disappear, and he grabs her, calming her down. She cries out as the connection between them reignites, and the Franks comes back to life. They charge back into the fight, hitting the monster with everything they've got. But when it tries to transform again, the rest of the team jumps in and holds it open. With the core exposed, Hiro flies in at full speed and drives straight through it. The Klaxosaur explodes in a burst of light, its glowing body dissolving into a cloud of smoke. Inside the cockpit, Hiro tells 02 he wants to be her wings, so she never has to fight alone again. Later, to celebrate the win, the squad gets a beach vacation. On the shore, 02 drags Hiro into the water and splashes him playfully. But a few days later, Hiro is introduced to the mysterious Dr. Franks, the man who invented the robots, and to another higher-up who says Hiro's lucky to still be alive. Then the sergeant tells Hiro and 02 that Command has officially declared them partners. 02 hugs him instantly, beaming with happiness, right there on the beach. She swims off while Hiro follows her. She says he helped her discover the world outside the battlefield. She asks him to stay by her side forever, then licks his face just to mess with him. Hiro gets flustered, thinking she's about to kiss him, but she explains that a kiss is something deep and meaningful and should only be shared between people who truly love each other. She asks if he's ever kissed anyone before. Hiro freezes up, stammering, and luckily, his friends drag him back to shore before he has to answer. They throw him down in the sand laughing, and Jerome, always nosy, asks what kiss even means. Hiro tries to slip away, but Jerome grabs him and begs for an answer. Reluctantly, Hiro explains that a kiss is when two people press their lips together. Shocked, Jerome asks if that's really a big deal. Hiro says it's a warm, special moment, something that makes you want it to last forever. Curious, Jerome tries to kiss him, but Hiro stops him, saying it should only be shared with someone you really care about. Right then, Ichigo walks up and asks what weird nonsense they're on about. Goro tells her they just learned what kissing means and asks if she's ever done it before. She quickly says no. That's when Miku calls everyone over. They all follow her to a hidden cave, and after climbing some stairs, they find themselves in an old, abandoned city. Looking around, they're stunned. The place looks exactly like their home, which makes them wonder if it was built from the same blueprint, and what happened to the people who used to live there. While everyone explores, Kokoro wanders off to another part of the old house and notices an old book lying on the floor. Curious, she picks it up and wipes off the thick layer of dust. The book falls open to an illustration of a baby, and she just stares at it like she's hypnotized. Right then, a loose board above her nearly falls, but Mitsuru quickly pulls her out of the way. Even after that, Kokoro keeps holding the book, her eyes locked on the image. Elsewhere in the house, Ichigo stumbles on a faded drawing of two people kissing. It reminds her of the moment she kissed Hiro inside the Franxx. Right at that moment, 02 appears behind her and casually mentions that she's kissed Hiro too. When Ichigo says she's also kissed someone before, 02 turns serious and says kisses should be saved for someone truly special. Then she asks Ichigo who she kissed before Ichigo can even answer. Goro shouts from across the street, saving her from the awkward moment. Later, everyone climbs a cliff overlooking the ruined city. Jerome asks how a city like this could even exist. 02 explains that a long time ago, when the Klaxosaurs first started attacking, humans abandoned all their cities to survive. This is just one of many ghost towns scattered around the world. That night, after dinner, 02 suddenly announces she wants to go swimming. Without waiting for a response, she takes off toward the ocean. A little later, everyone's sitting around a campfire. Hiro is thinking out loud, wondering why humanity chose to run from the Klaxosaurs instead of standing their ground. Since the monsters are drawn to magma energy, he questions whether giving up the planet was even worth it. Zorome, on the other hand, believes they made the right call and sees it as the ultimate sacrifice to protect the world. Later that night, while the others sleep, Ichigo sees Hiro sneaking off. She follows him, and the two walk along the beach. She points up at the stars and reminds him how she used to read him stories about them when they were younger. Hiro doesn't remember any of it, but when they spot a star shining above, something clicks. He remembers naming it after Ichigo's code number and making a promise to see it together someday, outside the fortress. As they walk, Ichigo tells Hiro not to put all his focus on 02. She reminds him that the kiss they shared meant everything to her. She tries to say she wants to stay by his side forever, but right as she's about to confess her feelings, Hiro points at a shooting star. He tells her to make a wish in her heart, completely missing what she was trying to say. Ichigo thinks he's a total oblivious dork. A few days later, during another mission, the squad faces a new Klaxosaur. A robot dodges the first attack, and Jerome leaps onto the creature, driving his weapon in over and over. Futoshi follows with a blast, and the whole team charges in for the finishing blow. But out of nowhere, the monster spits goo all over everyone. At first they think it's dangerous, but quickly realize it doesn't hurt the Franxx at all. The relief doesn't last long. The goo starts leaking inside and melting the girls' pilot suits. The boys, eyes wide, just stand there staring like their lives depend on it. They're clearly enjoying the view, but 02 shakes Hiro back into focus, yelling that there's still a monster to defeat. Quickly, they slice the creature into dust and end the threat. Back at the base, the boys try to apologize to the girls for staring too much, but the girls are furious and call them a bunch of disgusting perverts. To keep some distance, they literally draw a line across the house. Miku warns the boys not to cross it under any circumstances. Of course, Jerome tests that limit immediately and nearly gets slapped by every girl in the room. The next day, the girls discover the boys have taken over the cafeteria and are stuffing themselves with food. Goro suggests ending this silly fight, but the girls refuse. When they try to pull Miku back, 02 casually crosses the line and tells the boys the girls want peace, but secretly swaps the signs, shifting their side over to the boys' territory. Later, the girls go searching for food on the lower floors. It's their first time exploring that part of the building, and they find several mysteriously locked doors. Ichigo wonders how much longer they'll be stuck fighting Klaxosaurs, since the war seems endless. Out of nowhere, 02 shows up and licks Ichigo's neck, saying she can taste her secret. Ichigo's grossed out and tells her she should go live in the jungle with the animals. Later, the girls corner 02 and demand she explain her behavior. They're upset that she keeps hanging around Hiro and ignoring the rules, which makes them feel like their efforts don't matter. 02 says she joined their fight, but the next day, she rips down the restriction notice and announces that the girls called a truce. Then she swaps the signs again and tells the boys to come on in. But when the boys walk in, they land straight in the girls' locker room and get chewed out on the spot, pelted with shampoo bottles and called filthy pigs. Jerome tries to explain, but Hiro notices 02 is making off with everyone's clothes. He chases after her as she bolts down the hallway, slides down a banister, sprints up a staircase, and flies through the common room like she's in an action movie. Finally, she climbs up to the roof. Hiro follows her to the edge. With nowhere left to go, she dumps all the stolen clothes off into the air. Hiro asks why she stole all of it, and she just laughs, saying she wanted to have some fun. Then she leans over the edge like she's about to fall, but grabs onto the building's frame and lands smoothly, like a pro. Inside, Nana calls everyone together and tells them to stop acting like children. She says another battle is coming soon and they need to sort out their issues. In the girls' room, Ichigo demands to know why 02 tricked them. 02 says she was trying to teach them how to become better parents, though nobody understands what that means. Before leaving, she warns them they don't have much longer to live. In the boys' room, Hiro says it's time to make peace. He reminds them how much the girls helped in battle, fueling the Franks with their bodies. The boys realize the girls are strong, brave, and probably great future wives, so they agree to patch things up. Meanwhile, the girls try to figure out what 02 meant. Kokoro finally says what nobody else wanted to: they need each other. Boys and girls make a better team when they work together and respect one another. But Miku isn't convinced. She still thinks they're better off apart and walks away. Worried, the girls ask the boys for help finding Miku. She'd run off and was hiding in an abandoned room. Inside, she finds a photo of a squad that used to live there. Shocked to learn other people had once lived in that exact spot, she drops the frame right as her friends come running in. When they ask who used to live in that room, 02 shows up and says it belonged to a previous squad, one that died in battle. That terrifies everyone. Nobody wants to end up like them. They all agree to stop fighting and make peace. Jerome apologizes to Miku for everything. A few weeks later, the team receives a gift from headquarters. 02 asks why they get gifts every year, and Hiro explains it's the government's way of motivating them. Later that day, Goro catches Ichigo peeking around a corner while Hiro hands 02 a gift. Hiro says she didn't get anything this year, so he wanted to give her something special. It's a mirror that belonged to Naomi, his old partner, who had to leave after getting hurt. 02 gets emotional and hugs him tight, saying she'll keep it forever. Ichigo watches the whole thing and feels her heart break a little. Goro remembers something from their childhood. When he noticed Ichigo's hair was growing out, he secretly made a hair clip to impress her. But before he could give it to her, he saw that Hiro had already made the exact same thing. Goro never gave her the clip. He's always liked Ichigo, but fear kept him from ever saying anything. Later that night, Hiro sees Goro holding the old hair clip and asks why he still has it. Goro finally opens up. He says he wanted to give it to Ichigo years ago, but never had the courage. When Hiro asks why, Goro admits the truth. Ichigo has always liked Hiro, not him. She wants to be by Hiro's side the same way 02 always is. Goro smiles, says he's finally let it go, and lies down to rest. The next day, the sergeant gathers the squad and delivers urgent news. A massive Klaxosaur has been spotted just a few miles away, heading straight for their base. Nana lays out the mission clearly. They need to destroy it before it gets close to the fortress, or the damage will be catastrophic. Without wasting time, the team boards their Franks and launches toward the threat. As they close in, they spot huge storm clouds forming in the sky. That's when they see it. A colossal Klaxosaur floating in the middle of the clouds, looking like an alien spacecraft from another world. Jerome, full of confidence, charges in first. He dodges tentacles flying at him and starts slashing at them like a maniac. But then a tentacle grabs him midair. He struggles to break free and manages to escape. But the second he's free, he takes a direct hit from an explosion. When the smoke clears, he spots what looks like the beast's core and figures it's an easy win. He flies toward it to finish the job, but strange glowing bubbles surround him and trap him. Before he can react, Ichigo flies in and punches his Franks free of the trap, saving him, but ends up trapped herself. At that moment, the Klaxosaur starts glowing, building up power. A second later, it releases a massive explosion that shakes the entire sky. Goro wakes up groggy inside his own Franks, shuts off the emergency alarm, and remembers something. He ejected Ichigo from the cockpit right before the explosion. Over the comms, Hiro's voice reaches him. He explains that Ichigo is safe, but Goro is still trapped inside the Klaxosaur's body. The rest of the squad was forced to retreat, and the only hope of saving him now depends on restarting his Franxx. But without Ichigo connected to the system anymore, that's impossible. Ichigo storms into the control room, demanding they rescue Goro immediately. She screams that he's an idiot, but he's her idiot, and they can't just abandon him. The sergeant calmly explains that Goro ended up inside the creature's magma core and is lucky to be alive at all. But since the fortress comes first, they might have to destroy the Klaxosaur with Goro still inside. Ichigo, horrified, begs them to find another way. 02 steps forward and proposes a plan. Enter through the vent on top of the creature. The squad agrees and launches back into the battlefield. Zoromi helps position the Franxx on top, and Ichigo dives into the pool of fuel inside the beast, swimming deeper and deeper. Meanwhile, Goro is running out of air and starts reflecting on his life. As a kid, he was always picked on and weak, but Ichigo always protected him. He fell for her a long time ago, even knowing she only had eyes for Hiro. Still, she was the reason he kept going. Ready to give up, Goro reaches for the self-destruct button. But right at that exact moment, Ichigo arrives inside the cockpit. She reminds him that he promised to save her, because he'd never be able to do anything without her. Goro is overcome with emotion. He takes her hand, and the connection between them reactivates the Franxx. With one last surge of power, the robot rockets upward, bursting out of the Klaxosaur and escaping just in time, leaving the beast behind. The monster explodes in a blinding flash of light, and the battle is finally over. Back at the fortress, Goro finally gives Ichigo the hair clip he's kept since childhood. He tells her he wanted to give it to her years ago and confesses that he loves her and wants to be by her side forever. But Ichigo, gently, tells him she only sees him as a friend. Later, Hiro notices 02 has been oddly quiet. When he asks what's wrong, she shrugs and says she was just thinking about dinner. Meanwhile, Zoromi and Miku are back to bickering when Nana walks in and announces big news. They've been invited to visit the city by the military leadership as recognition for their efforts in battle. The squad is beyond hyped. Everyone thinks they're finally going to meet real adults and see how people live outside the fortress. But 02 isn't the least bit excited. When she tries to leave, Nana tells her she'll be getting medical exams during the trip. 02 refuses, saying she feels fine and doesn't need any dumb tests. The next day, everyone's dressed up and ready to go. Hiro notices 02 looks sad, like she doesn't want to go at all. As they travel to the city, the teens are blown away by the beautiful scenery and massive buildings. They dream about living there someday. Inside headquarters, a masked man greets them and praises their victories. He says their squad is the most valuable team in the military. But the second he leaves, the teens are confused. No party, no celebration whatsoever. Nana explains that no kind of reception is allowed inside the city. They'll be heading back right after the visit. Someone suggests walking part of the way to enjoy the view. During the walk, Zoromi talks about how badly he wants to grow up so he can live in the city. But Ichigo says she doesn't think they'll survive long enough for that. With so many battles ahead, she doubts any of them will actually get to grow up. At one point, the squad stops at a massive power plant and stares at the strange machinery. It looks unlike anything they've ever seen. But when they turn to leave, Zoromi falls behind. He sneaks into one of the buildings and takes an elevator to the top, trying to explore a bit more. Once he gets up there, though, he realizes he's completely lost. He starts wandering around, hoping to find a way out. The city looks empty and lifeless, like one giant ghost town. He spots a man walking nearby, but the guy completely ignores him. Eventually, Zoromi starts heading back down, but loses his balance and falls. He wakes up in a strange apartment, with an older woman looking after him. She says she thought he'd cracked his skull and is relieved he pulled through. Zoromi asks if this is some kind of nursing home, but the woman says places like that don't exist in the city anymore. She tells him she has to report him to the authorities, but Zoromi begs her to stay and let him ask a few questions first. She agrees and takes off her mask. While he eats the food she made, he asks if she lives alone. She says no, she lives with a partner, even though they almost never see each other. Zoromi assumes that means they pilot Franxx together, but the woman explains that partner, to her, means husband, someone she's supposed to raise kids with. Zoromi's confused. He's only ever seen boys and girls pairing up to fight. The idea of having babies is a whole new concept to him. The woman offers to show him her partner. They walk into a room where her husband is lying inside some strange machine. She says he's using it to keep his mind active, for some important reason. Suddenly, the woman gets lightheaded. She says she hasn't talked to anyone in years. She's almost forgotten how to hold a conversation. Zoromi asks if she talks to her husband, but she says no. They don't even greet each other anymore. She explains that people in the city get so caught up in their assigned tasks that they barely form any real connections. Zoromi starts complaining about Miku, but the woman encourages him to look for someone new. Zoromi refuses, though. He says Miku is special to him and he wouldn't trade her for anyone. Hearing that makes the woman even sadder. She says she has to report him now. As she sends the signal to the authorities, she asks why he's crying. Jerome says she looks familiar and asks if they've met before. The woman says no, but calls him a hero for risking his life to protect the fortress. Suddenly, a loud siren goes off. 2 agents storm in, scan Jerome for contamination, and call him filthy and unfit to be in the city. Back at the dorm, Jerome gets punished for ditching the team. They make him scrub the bathrooms, and Miku storms in, screaming at him and calling him a useless, stupid idiot. A few days after the last mission, the team returns to base, exhausted but proud. Ichigo reports to Nana that they successfully wiped out several Klaxosaurs and are ready for whatever comes next. The sergeant quickly warns them that a new wave of Klaxosaurs is approaching, and they'll need to be ready to fight again the next day. He tells everyone to rest up and get prepared. The next morning, the team watches a massive machine start digging deep into the ground. That's when they get the bad news. More Klaxosaurs are on the way. Everyone suits up, climbs into their franks, and gets ready for battle. But before the fight even starts, one robot shuts down. Inside, Mitsuru has passed out from exhaustion and looks awful. They rush him back to the facility for treatment. That night, still unconscious, Mitsuru has a vivid dream. He remembers being a small, weak kid, constantly told he wasn't strong enough to be a pilot. Desperate to prove his worth, he volunteered for a dangerous experiment and got a risky injection that nearly killed him, but didn't. Later, when he asked Hiro to be his Frank's partner, Hiro told him he could only pilot with a girl. The rejection hit Mitsuru hard, and when he wakes up, that memory makes his blood boil. He realizes he still hates Hiro and has no plans to forgive him. The next day, Mitsuru stubbornly demands to pilot again. He wants to prove everyone wrong and show he's still capable. But when he tries to power up the Franks, Nana and the sergeant can see he's still too weak. They tell him he's not ready. Afterward, they gather the team and announce that Mitsuru and Ikuno will no longer be partners. The two of them have lost their drive, and it's better for everyone if they switch pairs. After the meeting, Hiro pulls 02 aside and asks why she's been acting weird lately. She coldly replies that it's none of his business and walks off. At the next meeting, Nana asks for volunteers to switch partners. Ikuno steps up and asks to pair with Ichigo, even knowing Franks only work with boy-girl pairs. Ichigo agrees anyway. They figure it's worth a shot. Then Kokoro raises her hand and asks to switch too, which completely shatters Futoshi's heart. He looks like he just watched the world end right in front of him. Later, it turns out Ikuno and Ichigo can't get the Franks running, exactly as expected. So Nana assigns Futoshi as Ikuno's new partner. That night, in the boys' dorm, Futoshi sits there crying. He loved Kokoro deeply, and now she's gone. When Zorome insults her, calling her dumb and useless, Futoshi threatens to knock him out. As Mitsuru walks by, Futoshi tries to take a swing at him too, but trips and faceplants on the floor. A few hours later, the team gets word that a massive Klaxosaur is approaching. They rush to their Franks and launch to face it. 02 leads the charge and slashes the beast from below, but it doesn't even flinch. When she tries to strike again, she gets stuck under the creature's thick armor. Ichigo and Futoshi jump in just in time to pull her free, but 02 charges right back in, furious and out of control. She hacks off more chunks of the monster's rear. Then it splits into smaller, faster Klaxosaurs. They surround the area, knocking the Franks around every which way. Right as it looks like Futoshi's about to get crushed, Hiro pulls 02 back before she goes too far. Kokoro suggests they shoot the creature to locate its core, and the team agrees. As they dodge the beast's massive legs, 3 smaller Klaxosaurs break off and charge toward the excavation zone. 2 Franks units fire at them but miss. One creature dodges everything, but Futoshi manages to jump on its back and slice it to pieces. Meanwhile, Mitsuru, desperate to redeem himself, charges at the main Klaxosaur, but gets swatted away. When the monster prepares to crush them, Futoshi flies in and blocks its foot just in time. As 2 other Franks cut its legs, the beast starts to fall. The monster suddenly lashes out with a giant tentacle, but Futoshi keeps firing non-stop to hold it back. Inside the cockpit with Kokoro, she tries to motivate Mitsuru to try again, but he calls himself the biggest loser in the world. He says Hiro abandoned him when he was a kid, and maybe he really is worthless. Kokoro says none of that matters anymore. She believes in him and wants to help him move forward. Encouraged, Kokoro tries to activate the Franks by herself, but it doesn't work, and Mitsuru yells at her to never do that again. He calls her crazy, but holds her close before anything worse can happen. At the same time, the rest of the team keeps hacking at the monster, but it keeps pushing toward the construction zone. That's when Mitsuru and Kokoro's robot finally comes to life. Futoshi shoves the Klaxosaur back and unleashes a heavy blast, weakening it. Mitsuru seizes the opening, flies forward, and fires straight into it, blasting a hole in the core, giving Hiro and 02 the perfect chance to land the finishing blow. The monster convulses, collapses, and explodes into a thick cloud of smoke. The battle is finally over, and the Franks manage to escape. Back at base, Futoshi walks up to Mitsuru and punches him right in the face. He warns him to never put Kokoro in danger again. Mitsuru apologizes and promises to look out for her from now on. Days later, the team gets transported to a place called the Lab, the same facility where they were originally created. Nana says they're there for medical exams, but Hiro suspects the real reason is to monitor 02. Right then, another group shows up, along with the same strange guy Hiro saw weeks earlier. The man approaches 02 and asks if she's changed her habits. She tells him to get lost and walks off. He calls her by a code name, Iota, and explains that she used to be part of their team. He seems surprised the others have become her friends and even wonders if they gave her some kind of strange injection. Ichigo speaks up and says 02 is their teammate and way more human than he'll ever be. Trying to be charming, the guy kisses 02's hand. She turns bright red and takes off with the rest of the squad. After the exam wraps up, Hiro remembers something from weeks earlier, when he found 02 acting strange in the library. He asks what was going on, but instead of answering, she leans in like she's about to kiss him, her eyes empty like a robot's. When he notices her sharp fangs, he panics and pulls back. Meanwhile, outside the lab, 02 is throwing guards around like ragdolls. She kicks and smashes anyone who tries to stop her, but eventually takes a hit and collapses right before reaching Hiro. Hours later, the team wanders through the facility and watches the next generation of kids inside glass rooms. They see injections being administered to create new parasites. A woman explains that the new batch is receiving high levels of yellow blood cells to keep up with the growing Klaxosaur threat. Hiro asks about his old partner, Naomi, and whether she ever came back to the lab. The woman replies, "Nobody ever comes back once they leave." As the squad heads out of the lab, Kokoro asks something that catches everyone off guard. "How are babies made?" The others stare at her like she's got two heads. Miku says babies are made in machines, just like they were. Back at the fortress, Nana and the sergeant spot some Klaxosaurs sneaking toward the base and order the team to intercept. 02's Franks launches like a rocket, slamming into the enemy and destroying it with blinding force. But when she lands, a Klaxosaur nails her dead on and knocks her back. Ichigo tells her to stick to the plan, but 02 ignores her. She keeps pushing forward, dead set on wiping out everything in her path. She misses a shot, then leaps onto another monster and drives her weapon in until it's dead. More Klaxosaurs show up, moving too fast for the team to keep up, but 02 calls them easy prey and takes off after them. Hiro sees she's losing control and tries to stop her. She doesn't listen. Instead, she activates the Franks again and lands in front of the creatures, taking them out one by one with her lance. Then she snaps. She starts pounding the ground over and over like a wild animal, screaming and thrashing like she's completely lost her mind. Then, without warning, her Franks runs out of fuel and everything shuts down. Later that day, Hiro finds 02 sitting alone by the lake, staring off into the distance. He asks why she's been acting so strange lately. Without even looking at him, she says she only has one goal left, wiping out every last Klaxosaur on Earth. She believes that if she can destroy them all, she might finally become human. Hiro just stares at her, stunned. He tries to calm her down, saying she doesn't need to change, that she should accept herself exactly as she is. But instead of listening, she explodes. She screams at him to shut up and leave her alone. Even so, Hiro doesn't back down. He confesses that he loves her. But instead of being moved, 02 grows suspicious. She accuses him of only trying to get close to her for selfish reasons. Then, without warning, she pushes him down and kisses him aggressively, saying she's down to move the plot forward if that's what he wants. But Hiro pushes her off and insists that's not who he is. He says he wants real love, not just a meaningless fling. 02 coldly replies that she was only using him to fight the Klaxosaurs and chase her dream of becoming human. She doesn't care about love, only the mission. That night, Ichigo tries to talk to 02, but finds her smashing mirrors in a blind rage. Ichigo watches, unsettled, wondering if she's completely lost her mind. Her thoughts drift back to what the mysterious man from the other squad had said, that 02 was dangerous, and that every one of her partners died because of her. He claimed she put some kind of curse on her co-pilots, and that if Hiro kept piloting with her, he'd end up turning into a monster just like her. The next day, the squad heads into another battle, this time in a snowy region. 02, as usual, charges straight into danger, but smaller Klaxosaurs gang up on her and start beating her down. Zoromi and Ichigo have to step in to help. Even so, she refuses to stop. She charges in again, eyes locked on the enemy. Hiro pulls their Franks back and begs her to let go of this obsession with becoming human, but she won't listen. Instead, she forces control of the robot and starts smothering Hiro's spirit inside the cockpit. She says she doesn't care what happens. She'll do whatever it takes to become human and reunite with her first darling. That word hits Hiro like a punch. Something starts coming back to him. It feels like he's known her from a long, long time ago. And as if reading his mind, 02 starts telling her story. She says that when she was little, she was locked in a room for months. A faceless figure fed her through a slot in the wall. One day, they gave her a picture book. Inside were beautiful drawings of a monster girl trying to become human. From that moment on, 02 became obsessed with finding more books like it and learning about the world. But her curiosity led to her becoming an experiment at the facility. Meanwhile, back when Hiro was younger, he was full of questions about who he really was. He was just one of several kids being trained to become parasites. One day, he found Ichigo crying alone. She said the constant injections were turning their friends into lifeless zombies. She even wondered if she should take more injections just to stop feeling anything. Hiro told her she was different and gave her the name Ichigo. From then on, he started giving names to all the other kids too. But over time, the kids noticed their friends were disappearing one by one, and the adults refused to explain anything. Despite the growing unease, Hiro kept doing well in training and was rewarded with candy. Still, nobody answered his questions. One day, Hiro saw a strange girl being dragged into the lab. She looked inhuman, with red skin and fangs. When he asked about her, an adult warned him not to get involved. But Hiro couldn't stop thinking about her. He snuck out of his room during a snowstorm, climbed a tree, and peeked through her window. Inside, she was fighting a guard over her picture book. When she finally got it back, she held onto it like it was everything she had. Days passed. The disappearances continued, and one day Hiro was called in for another test. Afterward, he was rewarded with 2 pieces of candy. But on his way out, he heard a scream. Curious, he followed the sound and saw that same red-skinned girl being tortured in some brutal experiment. Horrified, Hiro tried to run, but a man grabbed him and dragged him away. Later, Hiro escaped again. He trudged through the snow and made his way back to her room. Climbing the same tree, he tossed a flashlight through her window and held out his hand to her. She hesitated, scared, but eventually took his hand. They climbed down together, but the branch snapped and they fell into the snow. Wandering through the frozen forest, 02 stared at everything in wonder. She'd never seen the outside world before. When she spotted a rat, she grabbed it and ate it raw. Hiro was grossed out and tried to make her throw it up, but she bit him. He stayed calm, gently stroked her head, and helped her feel safe. Even though she couldn't talk, Hiro could tell she seemed to understand him. After spotting the O2 on her wristband, he decided to call her 02. She loved it and started repeating his name. He wrapped her feet in cloth to protect them from cuts, and they kept moving. While they rested, Hiro gave her a piece of candy and her eyes lit up with joy. Then she handed him the picture book and asked him to read it to her. That's when they heard guards nearby searching for them. They hid in a bush and managed to avoid detection. Continuing through the snow, they entered a new area and kept running, barely staying ahead of the soldiers chasing them. Hidden up in a tree, Hiro explained the story in the book. A tale about a monster princess who fell in love with a human and wanted to become one too. But he thought the ending was sad, since the two of them could never actually be together. As they got ready to move again, Hiro noticed 02 had gotten hurt. Without a second thought, he licked her wound to clean it and told her he wanted to be her darling forever. Her eyes welled up with tears and she hugged him tight. But before they could get any farther, the soldiers found them. One of them hit Hiro over the head. The two of them were dragged back to the lab. After that, the doctor ordered Hiro's memory to be wiped. That's why he forgot everything. 02, their promise, everything they'd shared. From that point on, all 02 ever wanted was to become human and find the boy who once saved her. Back inside the Franks, Hiro tells her he remembers everything now. She was that same monster girl from the lab, the one with the picture book. As the memories flood back, the robot loses power and Hiro passes out in her arms. Ichigo enters the cockpit and finds Hiro unconscious. She pulls 02 out and tries to wake him up. Later that day, Hiro is taken in for treatment, and 02 realizes she made a terrible mistake. When she tries to visit Hiro, Ichigo blocks her path. She says 02 can never get near him again. Ichigo tells the others that 02 had been manipulating Hiro from the start and is responsible for his condition. She has no intention of letting her hurt him again. 02 tries to downplay it, but Ichigo stands firm. She says 02 is no longer part of the squad and is banned from seeing Hiro. Later, Hiro finally wakes up. His friends are relieved to see him conscious, but he immediately asks where 02 is. Ichigo tells him the truth. She's kept her away and officially removed her from the team. Before leaving, Hiro apologizes to Mitsuru for breaking their old promise to be partners. Mitsuru says he doesn't care about that anymore and even tells Hiro to forget about 02. But Hiro can't. He remembers how lost and broken he felt after losing his memories. He was failing every test and about to get sent away. But 02 changed everything. She brought him back to life. She reminded him who he really was. And now, no matter what anyone says, Hiro is determined to find her again and make things right. The next morning, the sergeant gathers everyone to explain a new mission. This time, it's not just another battle. It's a full-scale war against a massive Klaxosaur army. 2 other squads will be joining in as well. But as soon as the meeting starts, Ichigo raises her hand and firmly demands that 02 be removed from the team. She says 02 has become dangerous and is completely out of control. Nana replies that 02 is already scheduled to return to headquarters the next day. She's been officially recalled and will be reuniting with her original team. 02 is stunned by the news and begs to see him one last time before she leaves, but Nana firmly denies the request and reminds her she's leaving in the morning. No exceptions. As 02 turns to leave the room, Futoshi steps in front of her to block the way. Then Ichigo coldly adds that they're going to keep her away from Hiro, no matter what it takes. At the same time, Hiro tries to leave the room, but Miku stops him, telling him he can't go anywhere. Everyone's afraid that if 02 sees him again, something terrible will happen. Later, Ichigo walks into Hiro's room carrying an apple. As she peels it, she tells him 02 is heading back to her old team, and that he should stay far away. But Hiro can't hide his feelings. He admits he still can't stop thinking about 02. He apologizes for making everyone worry and says he needs to rest. After finishing the apple, he lies down, and Ichigo leaves. Meanwhile, back at the house, 02 loses her patience. She shoves Goro against the wall, trying to force her way out to look for Hiro. Ichigo shows up and warns her again that she's not getting near him. 02 grabs Ichigo's shirt, frustrated, and says she just wants to talk. Goro steps in and suggests they at least give her a few minutes with Hiro. Soon after, they arrive at the facility. 02 rushes to the medical room, hoping to find him there. It's completely empty. The others are just as shocked. That's when they realize Hiro somehow escaped through the ceiling. But 02 thinks everyone was plotting against her, and her eyes light up with rage. Meanwhile, Hiro arrives at her room in the dorm, anxious to see her. But when he opens the door, he finds the place trashed. At the same moment, 02 has already completely snapped. She'd taken down the whole squad and was about to attack Ichigo. That's when Hiro walks in. The moment she sees him, 02 lets go of Ichigo. Hiro runs over to her, asking why she hurt everyone. 02 tries to explain, saying Ichigo was trying to keep them apart and all she wanted was to talk to him. But Hiro says she's turned into something terrifying. He tells her to leave and never come back. Her heart shatters. The next day, 02 gets ready to leave. As she walks off alone, some of the others start to regret how things ended. Even they have to admit they're going to miss her. Hiro stands near the dorm, watching her walk into the forest without saying a single word to him. Ichigo walks up and suggests they head inside. But when she turns to him, she sees tears running down his face. His heart is broken. He doesn't want to let her go. He takes off running after her, but Ichigo grabs his arm. She tells him that if he keeps chasing after 02, he'll lose himself and turn into a monster too. Then, in a desperate move, she kisses him. She says she's always loved him since they were kids and dreamed of being with him forever. But before Hiro can respond, he looks up and sees a jet flying across the sky, getting farther away. It's 02. Already leaving the fortress. The next day, the sergeant shows them terrifying footage. A massive swarm of Klaxosaurs is wiping out fortresses and crushing defense lines. Watching the destruction, the squad realizes this is nothing like the small skirmishes they fought before. This is a full-scale invasion, and their survival depends on winning. The sergeant says the mission is to wipe out every Klaxosaur and reclaim the fortress. Everyone suits up to head out. Goro pats Hiro on the shoulder and tells him to keep his head up. Ichigo tells him to just stay behind and take a nap, since he can't help out anyway. On the battlefield, 02 returns with that same wild fury as always. Her new teammates strike first, wiping out a wave of Klaxosaurs. Ichigo's team jumps in right after. Futoshi fires off powerful blasts at the creatures, tearing through them as he advances. Zorome slices monster after monster into pieces. Mitsuru takes down a few more and discovers an opening leading deeper into the Klaxosaur nest. Right as Ichigo announces they're moving in, the ground splits open. A colossal super Klaxosaur emerges, roaring as it hurls an entire fortress through the air, obliterating it instantly. It then smashes through another base and starts advancing toward the last remaining fortress. A different squad tries to stop it with explosives, and while they manage to slow it down, the beast crashes into the city and unleashes a flood of smaller Klaxosaurs. Ichigo orders everyone to fall back inside. But before she can act, 02 appears and charges straight into the chaos. As waves of monsters flood the city, she tries to climb the colossal Klaxosaur, but gets swatted down. Surrounded by smaller creatures, she uses her tail to tear them apart. The rest of the team is collapsing from exhaustion. Even so, 02 keeps running, taking down every Klaxosaur in her path. Meanwhile, back at base, Hiro is sitting in 02's trashed room, staring at a cracked mirror held together with tape. He wonders what she wanted to tell him before she left. After sitting there in silence, something inside him snaps. He's done just sitting around. It's time to act and fight for her. On the battlefield, the city is falling fast. Ichigo runs out of ammo and starts smashing monsters with metal bars. Zorome tries to take one down but gets thrown back. As Ichigo cuts down another, they spot a robot charging straight at 02. It's Hiro, in a training unit. But before he can reach her, a Klaxosaur slams him to the ground. Ichigo screams at him to go back to base, but Goro sees right through her. He realizes Ichigo's only trying to keep them apart so she can have Hiro for herself. Goro shuts down his own robot and tells Hiro to get in. Then he turns to Ichigo and asks her to help him reach 02. As they sync up, Ichigo feels Hiro's heart, and it's full of memories of 02. She knows she doesn't stand a chance. Even so, she holds it together and activates the robot. Ichigo's robot charges at the Franxx carrying 02, but the enemy knocks her down instantly. Refusing to give up, she attacks again and again. Her weapon snaps in half and she gets thrown around, but she keeps fighting until she finally disables the enemy and clears a path. When Hiro finally makes it into the cockpit, he finds something shocking. 02 has transformed into a monstrous, unrecognizable version of herself.
She's still controlling the Franxx, giving him no access at all. Determined to reach her heart, Hiro gently grabs her massive horns and asks to see what she's been hiding deep inside. In that instant, her memories pour into him. After Hiro lost his memories years ago, the scientists tried to wipe 02's mind too, but she resisted. She protected the moments they'd shared, the promise, the picture book. She even ate the pages to make sure the memories stayed inside her.
Hiro pulls her into a hug, and as he does, her monstrous horns disappear and her eyes open. She tells him to stay away, that she's still a monster, but Hiro doesn't care. He holds her tighter and says that even though they couldn't run away together back then, they can do it now. He wants to explore the world with her, and then he kisses her. At that exact moment, 3 colossal Klaxosaurs launch an energy attack at them, but the Franxx rockets into the sky, glowing with blinding light. In that instant, the robot transforms. 02 charges forward, flying straight into the heart of the giant Klaxosaur and blowing it apart from the inside. The explosion is massive. Then, without slowing down even a little, she goes into a destructive rampage, wiping out the rest of the Klaxosaur army in a whirlwind of devastation. The base around them collapses as the monsters are obliterated in one final explosion that shakes the earth itself. And that's it for today. If you're into anime recaps like this one, drop a comment below. I read every single one. Also check out this other video right here, you're gonna love it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.